You're listening to the Seen and Solved podcast brought to you by Hubbard-Hall. Better results, less chemistry.
So welcome to this edition of Seen and Solved. I'm Tim Pennington, and today we're joined by Molly Kellogg, the CEO and chairwoman of the sixth generation-led Hubbard-Hall specialty chemical company. Ironically, mission now is less chemicals for their customers. And one of the first questions I want to ask you, Molly, is how does a chemical company use that as a motto of selling less chemicals? It just sometimes doesn't make sense, but I'm sure there's a reason behind it.
Yeah, and Tim, I'd like to think of it as more than a motto, but really a mission. And we're in a unique position being, I'm a sixth generation family member by business. We're going to be 175 years old next year. And so I've really been thinking about what it means to be an evergreen business, to be sustainable, and looking around at our current world, thinking about the next generation to hopefully take over. For me, I feel like we've got a real responsibility to leave the planet, our communities, our manufacturing world in a better shape than we found them. And, the other funny reality about the products that we sell, so we're selling specialty chemicals into surface finishing and manufacturing. Nobody really wants to use what we sell, but they have to, because you can't use metal in a durable goods environment without it going through pretty rigorous chemical process. It's got to be cleaned. You've got to worry about rust. You've got to have a decorative or functional finish, all these things. Nobody wants to use them. So thinking about what our purpose is for our business, I'd really like to help our customers get those better results, use less chemistry, maybe it's less complexity, all in all, just shrinking the process so that they're able to do more with less.
Right. Well, let's take a step back, because I look at Hubbard-Hall as a company, not just selling chemicals, let's just say that, but more of an expertise in this industry, right? Going in and helping shops and companies better streamline their operation, maybe work out the kinks, but also offer better solutions, better ideas of how to do things. I hear that more and more when I talk to some of your field people. They go in, they see certain things, they say to the owner, you might want to tweak this a little bit, the way you've got this set up. So really, like I said, I see you all as more providing the expertise. Chemicals are second, right? You've got those in your back pocket, but It is the expertise, right?
It is the expertise. And I also think that drive to always be better and to help our customers improve it dovetails with what we're trying to do internally as a company that's embraced lean, always looking for continuous improvement, taking waste out of the process. Same thing when we get to our customers and looking at their challenges they have. And we really love the sort of the difficult to solve. We love the challenges that other people haven't been able to solve. And that's what gets our people up in the morning, gets them tank side, and they're trying to make it better for the customers.
That's one of the things I hear a lot, because, some of these shops are they're being asked to do much more through their own customers, right? They're getting more substrates, different challenges, different type of components. The parts are machined very a lot differently. And so, that's something I think that I totally agree with you, that it's seeing that tank side that they can help that customer get through it and move on.
Yeah. And back to it being, a mission versus a motto. I was talking to Robin Deal, whom you've interviewed before, and a problem she was asked to solve for a customer on the waste treatment side, identified what the issue was upstream. It was a cleaner, there was the chelating. So she solved that. We never sold a drop of chemistry in there. Like, we solved it, they were fixed, their discharge was fine. And, that was a wonderful thing to do. And I think the more we can go in and be seen as a resource that really wants to help our customers, the better.
Right. Let's talk about the challenges with that, internally, externally. When you're going in, and trust me, I would agree that a lot of shops are just saying, what chemicals do you have to fix this problem?
Right.
And then you have to explain to them that's not the solution, really, sometimes. But what challenges do you face internally and externally with that approach?
No, that's a good question, Tim. Internally, people think I'm a little crazy about this. I'm tilting at windmills like Don Quixote, because I'm saying let's go do more with less, let's sell less. And so as our internal resources align for that, like salespeople, they want to earn commission on what they sell. How do we evolve a model that rewards them for really driving value to the customer? So that's the internal side. And then even at the customer side, we're going to be pushing change, because maybe you've got to think about doing things differently, whether it's a different type of chemistry, Is it adding equipment? Is it adding technology? All these different things. And that's hard in any kind of manufacturing environment. It's hard when people are really busy, or maybe there's a labor shortage as it is now. So what we're asking them to do is really take a step back, think differently about their operations, and make a change. So change throughout the process here at Hubbard-Hall, at our customer site, and it takes patience, being really focused on that goal to keep driving towards that.
Right, right. Yeah, and I've seen in talking to some of the people that you have out in the field, the Hubbard-Hall technical teams, it is almost sometimes taking an addition by subtraction approach, in looking at it more holistically, from beginning to end of what the line is asked to do. What are they using, and then looking at all these different steps to try to solve a problem. Instead, a lot of it is taking something out, and you don't need this anymore. It's causing more problems, and it's good. And actually, getting back to chemicals, of you all having, I would consider them smarter chemicals, right? They're doing more. The smarter products, they're doing more than what they had 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, I was just actually looking at some videos for a presentation I have to do next week, and it was about one of our products, it's the Aqueous 2289. So it's an MSA-based cleaner, and it cleans and deoxes in one step. So this notion of taking complexity, reducing the number of steps, and getting it down to one or two. So we're always looking on an R&D side, how can we look at different molecules, different ingredients in our products so that we can deliver better with less. And sometimes that's a single product, looking at products that work at lower temperatures, anything that's consuming more resources as manufacturers produce. We're looking at ways to help them to minimize that.
Right. A great example of the Aqueous. Any other examples you can kind of recall of how you all have taken that approach of not really just prescribing more product for them, but actually looking at a whole holistic solution that might help them?
Yeah, a couple different things, and they're really focused around the cleaning products. So one is our Aqueous Infinity, and this is a membrane system, and we like to say it's not your father's membrane because it's made of sintered metal, not ceramic. So what this does is lets users recycle their cleaners and recoup 30 to 70% and get better results. So the cleaner products, we're taking a lot of the junk out. And then we're also working with a company called Brighton Surface Technology, looking at data, really measuring cleanliness on a part, which traditionally has been more subjective. And you say, oh, is this clean? Okay, let's move it on and let's dump my tank. Now, by using this technology and reading cleanliness on a part, we can say, okay, we know it is clean, it's objective, we know it's going to fail after 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, and therefore we can alter our dump cycle and use less chemistry. So those are some of the newer ones that we're looking at and trying to figure out what markets they fit, because they don't work for every application. But that's an interesting, to me, those products. You've got chemistry, you've got some equipment, if you look at the membrane, and you've got technology. So really in the future, wrapping those three things, I call them 3 legs of a stool, I think are going to be important in how we come up with the next types of products.
Right, right. I read a statistic the other day that said, I think it was close to 80% of all aluminum that's ever been created and close to 75% of all steel that's been created is still in use today across the world, which is great, right? It's you're not using resources like that. But how does this UAL's program fit into most environmental, social governance programs? Because I know a lot of larger corporations have that, and they press it all the way down even to their suppliers who are giving them parts, of making sure that they're not taxing the environment as much, and they're being more prudent in what products they use. So how does that fit into the larger scheme of things?
Well, I think it goes back to being a family business and a 6th-generation business. So how are we operating? How are we impacting our community? On the environmental side, we've talked about helping our customers use less resources to make what they need. And then beyond that, how are we trucking chemicals through communities? How are we working with our people to make sure that we've got an inclusive and progressive culture? So all those things which become buzzwords, so I kind of hate talking about them. But if I really think about the business, it needs to reflect what I believe in, who I am, and then hopefully the people who work for us and the next generation of people are going to work for us. So I take it really seriously and wake up every day thinking about how do we do better, and whether that's on the chemistry side, whether that's how our people work for us. But I really do take a holistic approach to our business, because we've got this wonderful business, we've got this wonderful platform to do good in the world. That was not an exact quote, but the ex-CEO of Pepsi, I can't remember her name right now, but at the end of the day, she said, what does she want to do? She wants to do good. So that's what I want to do with our little chemical company up in New England, and try to make the world a little bit better. And I think back to, does this make sense? So is this going to be a viable business model? Well, if I were DuPont or Dow and had conquered most of the world, it probably wouldn't be a very good strategy, and my board would have exited me by now. But we're a small company. I think there's a lot of manufacturers out there that we haven't met that we can help. So I do see using less as a growth strategy, as counterintuitive as that sounds.
So Molly, thank you for joining us again. And if anybody wants more information, they can go to your website, Hubbard-Hall.com, or they can certainly reach out and talk to one of your technicians or representatives, who I'm sure will give them all the information they need to really, like I said, use less chemicals and get more production out of it.
Thank you, Tim.
The Seen in South podcast is brought to you by Hubbard-Hall. For more podcasts, visit Hubbard-Hall.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to like and subscribe, rate and review, and join us on social media.